I will show you an opening for white that will help you outplay everyone below 2000 ELO. It's perfect for rapid chess because you know exactly what to do and can execute your plan well and fast. But it's not a mainstream opening, so your opponent will have no idea how to react, burn lots of time, and you will checkmate them before they know it. What's up, chess player? Welcome to the Journey to Grandmaster, the place where you can improve every single aspect of your chess game. The best opening for rapid chess under 2000 ELO starts with the move d4. Why d4 is so much better than e4 for rapid chess, at least in my opinion, and I hope you are gonna agree with it. Because in the e4 openings, you have to learn so much theory, because once you play e4, they can play e5, c5, c6, e6, completely different openings, and you need to know what to do against every single one of them. It's tough and it requires so much time to remember everything. Whereas in the d4 move, you can rather think strategically in terms of structures, in terms of where to put your pieces, basically no matter what your opponent is doing. And the opening I want to show you today, the Accelerator system, is a great example of how you can learn one opening, you can understand the ideas and master it, and then destroy everyone around under 2000 ELO and even beyond. Black has different moves here, but you don't really care that much. In this game, Black played knight to f6, and this was the game between Bruzon Batista and Viswanathan, the one and only 5-time world chess champion from India. But it was played in 2006, where Anand was at his peak, one of the best players in the world, yet White completely crushed him with a brilliant move, sacrifices. I mean, that was a horrendous checkmate in the end. So let me show you exactly how you use this opening to crush everyone. If it works against Viswanathan, it's gonna work against your opponent. First of all, you develop your pieces and you do it towards the center. You just need to remember where to put your minor pieces here. The knight goes to f3. They play e6. They can start with the move d5. Doesn't really matter that much because it's gonna transpose anyway. They play d5 now. Bishop to d3 and the move c5. Last time, so many people criticized the opening because they said, well, Fabiano Caruana won it nicely against the main line, but what if Black just plays here the move c4 and tries to shut down the entire queen side, then continue b5 and gonna attack us like that? Well, first of all, it's not a big deal. We can just step back. If you imagine here castles, and they're gonna attack us like that, we are gonna step back, and then we are gonna start chasing those pawns, b3, a4, put a lot of pressure on it, and Black has to waste a lot of time, and it's not that big of a problem for us. Yet, if you want to completely eliminate this possibility for your opponent, all you need to do is just start with the move b3 exactly as White did in this game, and then c4 is not possible in the first place. Bishop goes to d6. Now we come to another point of extreme critique last time, or at least a lot of questions I was getting regarding it, and I was so shocked about it, to be honest. So people said, well, this whole plan works against castles, all great, and by the way, Anand played here short castles, but what if Black castles long instead, our entire attack, because the idea of the opening is to attack on the king side and deliver a checkmate, but if Black goes queen side, then we don't have anything to do. Well, it does not make any sense because the king is even more vulnerable on the queen side. Let me show you. First of all, it's so difficult. Like, how do you even get it possible for Black? You need to make ugly moves. It takes you a lot of time, like bishop d7, or waste another tempo on b6, bishop b7. But then your king remains in the center longer, which is also not a nice thing. And let's say I just develop my pieces. So you need to put your queen away. I make this a3 move, very useful to stop the knight from coming to b4, and you achieve your goal. You make long castles. And now you say, well, those bishops are just attacking the pawns. What have you achieved? Well, every time you are gonna castle in the same side where you're attacking, that's not gonna end well for you. And this is not an exception. I'm gonna just take this pawn on c5. Basically, all I need to do is open up the queen side, and then White is essentially winning. I mean, this position, it's a tremendous advantage for White for a simple reason that we attack for free. The attack basically speaks for itself. We play c4, b4. Let's say you try to make sure your king is secure, but it's not. I mean, I'm gonna play b4. You have to go back. I'm gonna take this pawn on d5. you will take it back, I don't care, with the knight, with the pawn. I'm gonna place my rook on c1 against your queen, b5 is coming, knight c4, knight d4 are coming. The bishops are great, controlling all of the squares. You have nothing to worry about it. This is essentially winning for white. In most of the cases, they are gonna castle short side. That's exactly what Anand did here, and then we continue our plan. First of all, we put this bishop on b2, and this bishop plays the most significant role, maybe alongside with this one on d3. They both attack the king side, especially those pawns on g7 and h7, and play a crucial role in delivering a checkmate. Now, black has different ways of trying to create some counterplay. If they don't create any counterplay, then we are going to be the only one in the driver's seat and just deliver a checkmate. So normally, black is trying to create some sort of play on the queen side, either by playing a6, b5, and c4. We have seen it in the last video where Fabiano Caruana crushed his opponent. Please, if you haven't seen it yet, take a look at it. But in this game, black decided to try another strategy. So first of all, knight c6, and after knight b2 d2, Anand took here the pawn on d4. And that eliminates one of our ideas, because last time we took on c5 and opened up this huge monster along the long diagonal, and that played a crucial role. But if they do that, they don't have their most dangerous idea, which was to play b5 and c4 eventually to attack this bishop on d3. So they can do that. Let's see what happens in this case. They just continue their development. They play b6, and we again play this move a3. Very, very useful one, just to make sure this knight never comes to b4, where it attacks our bishop. If they would have played knight b4 earlier, no big deal. We play bishop e2 for one move. The next move we play a3. They go back, and we play bishop to d3 as well. And so nothing really changes. But it's always very useful, so that when you're ready to attack, to deliver some checkmate threats, knight b4 is not an issue for you. Okay, bishop b7 has been played, and now once we have developed all of our minor pieces, it's time to execute our middle game plan. With so many openings, the problem is you learn the theory, you memorize the first 10 moves or whatever, but then you're completely lost. You don't know how to continue, what to do. Well, the Collie system, the Collie-Zukertort system, is a completely opposite thing, because you know exactly what you need to do. First of all, your strategic idea is to attack on the king side, deliver a checkmate. Then you think in terms of, okay, how can I achieve that goal? And this is so great for rapid chess. You have limited time, and if you know, first of all, where all of your pieces belong, and then what to do, how to transition from the opening into the middle game, and what to do in the middle game, you save so much time. For your opponent, it's completely the opposite. First of all, it's not such a mainstream opening, so your opponent doesn't have so much experience with it, and he or she would need to waste some time trying to realize what to do here. And secondly, you constantly apply pressure, because even if your opponent is able to create some counterplay on the queen side, well, in the best case scenario, he's attacking a pawn on c2 here, but you are threatening to give him a checkmate, and psychologically, it's always more difficult to deal with it. Let's see exactly how white delivers on this plan. So the first part is to put this knight on e5. Because you need to understand, it's not enough to memorize any opening lines, it's important to understand the key ideas, otherwise all of the opening memorization is absolutely useless. So the key idea is to put the knight on e5. Why? Because it limits your opponent's potential so much. The knight in the center is always great. If you can stabilize it there, then it's controlling pretty much everything around the center. And you cannot really take it as black, because it's only going to help you. First of all, you cannot take it with the knight. You're going to lose a piece due to the fork. And if you take with the bishop, I'm going to take it back, attack your knight, you have to waste yet another tempo, and then you have to remove very important defender, and the attack basically is free to go. Black played here queen to c7, which seems like a very normal logical move, add another attacker, yet the engine is not a big fan of it, which also shows us how difficult it is to play as black. Like, if you're a casual club player under 2000 ELO, try to figure out how to play here as black. It's absolutely not easy. You just don't know what to do. Whereas White has a very clear plan. We want to play f4, rook f3, rook h3, maybe g4, g5, maybe knight f3, knight g5, and we want to attack h7 pawn with all of our pieces, eventually queen h5 once it's possible, and just deliver a checkmate. So we know exactly what to do, and Black struggles to find a reasonable plan. Anand is, of course, like one of the best players in the chess history. He's not that easy to crack, but let's see how it happened. He played knight e7 and just f4. We want to support this knight from both sides. It's always very stable structure here. This video is brought to you by Chestnut. Chestnut is making amazing chessboards that allow you to play online from a real 3D board. They have high quality chessboards, nice looking chess pieces, so that you can enjoy and having fun playing it. Chestnut boards also have so many training functions that I absolutely love to use to my training, and it helps me to improve my chess every day. This is, for example, Chestnut Evo. I love to use it for my trainings, but they have so much to offer you depending on your preferences and your budget. And the best part is you can just use the promo code Grandmaster or click the link in the description to get a big discount on all of the Chestnut products. Anand played b5 just because he needs to create some counterplay. Remember this about chess, you never want to play without counterplay. In that case, you're just sitting and waiting for your opponent to come and destroy you. Instead, you have to have a plan for the game. It's better to play with a bad plan than to play without a plan at all. So Black wants to create some chances here on the queen side, but again, the problem is there is not much to attack here. So White plays rook f3, even though the engine says, well, it's not the best move, but humanly speaking, it's very reasonable. We just continue our plan, feel free to try to stop it. Now we come to an essential moment. First, both sides are developing their rooks here, all normal, and then Black plays the move b4. I want you to pause the video for a second here and try to understand the right move for White or the right sequence of moves, because it's going to be very instructive in terms of understanding how this opening works. White made here arguably the only real mistake in this game. He played the move a4. Why it's a mistake? The best move was instead to take on the b4. It's just faster, and time is the most important resource in chess. If you can make your moves faster and execute your plan faster, then you are the one winning the game. Now, I mean, we have won a pawn. Black needs to take it back, but then we just continue with our plan. We play rook h3 and we have a free tempo. And now we are already creating those huge threats, and it's not simple for Black to deal with it. On the other hand, if we play the move a4, which is exactly what happened in the game, then now Black has a free tempo to play knight g6, which is what they did, and bring another defender to the game. So very important. Focus on your strategic plan and try to execute it as fast as possible. Even still, White continues the attack, brings another piece, because the rook is actually not doing anything useful along the c-file. The c2 pawn is well protected. And this rook is important because we want to protect this f4 pawn to enable the move rook to h3. Anand plays knight to e4, trying again to create some counterplay. This knight feels to be powerful in the center, yet it lacks some defenders. White plays rook h3, just continuing the plan. Again, very simple. We know where to bring our pieces, and then we want to focus on this h7 pawn, on the king in general, and deliver a checkmate. And yes, the engine says this position is somehow better for Black, but it's so difficult to figure out why and how to actually take advantage of that. Even one of the greatest, Visha Anand, couldn't do it. The right move is like knight to e7, the piece that you have just brought into the defense, and how you have to put it back. It's almost humanly impossible to realize that opening up this diagonal, our best attacking chance. I mean, this is very strong. Black played instead f5, which seems like a very logical move. You want to support this knight from all possible directions, but now White just takes it. Well, once this diagonal is closed, there is not much of a job for this bishop on d3, so now we can exchange it. And there is a very tough question. How do you react as Black? If you take with the f-pawn, you're essentially killing all of the hopes of this bishop to become a real person one day. It has absolutely zero chance to be activated, and psychologically it's a very difficult move to make. Anand played here d takes e, which is having some hope to still activate that bishop one day to play e3 and somehow to be powerful along the diagonal. The problem is it's way too slow. Yes, you're also attacking here the c2 pawn, but nobody cares about that. Nobody's gonna go back and defend it. White is about to deliver a checkmate. So queen h5, it's all about who is gonna deliver the first dangerous threat. Yes, black has created a threat to pick up the pawn, but white is here creating a checkmate threat in one, so that is much more dangerous. Black played bishop takes e5. We just take it back, renewing this threat, and there is no way you can defend against the queen takes h7 threat, because you cannot play h6, the knight is hanging, and you cannot defend the h7 pawn. There is nothing you can do. That is how powerful yet simple this plan is. But it's not enough to get a winning position, it's important to execute it. The most difficult thing in chess is to win a winning position. Let's see how Bruzon delivered a brilliant checkmate against Anand here. Anand played queen takes c2, again trying to create a counterplay. You cannot stay there and wait for your opponent to come and destroy you. So black is trying to create some counterplay, but unfortunately for him it's way too late because the attack is already coming. First of all, we take the pawn on h7 with a check. That is the most active move, and we attack the black's king. And then after king f7, how do we continue? Well, it's essential to apply as much pressure on our opponent as possible. That is the key, especially in the rapid game, when your opponent doesn't have time to figure out all of those threats and how to deal with that. So ideally, you want to create a dangerous threat on every single move when you're attacking to maximize the chances of this attack to be successful. So how can we create a new threat? Well, this rook on h3 is actually not doing anything useful there anymore, and we can play rook to g3 where it attacks the knight, and if the knight goes away, then the pawn behind that. So essentially the knight cannot get away from it. Black played queen takes d2, again continuing at least trying to create some counterplay. The problem is white's king is so much more secure than black's one. White takes here with the rook because we want to add as many pieces to the attack as possible. This way we are attacking both with the rook and the queen, creating huge amount of threats, and our king is absolutely fine. Yes, black has one check, but we are gonna just play king h1 and that's over. But there is no way to deal with all of the threats. Black played here rook g8, for example, to cover the biggest weakness, the g7 pawn. And now feel free to pause the video for a second and find the brilliant move to beat the one and only Anand. I hope you did it, because the move is truly amazing. He sacrifices the rook here with rook takes e6, because if you think about it, chess is not about the amount of pieces. The pieces is just your resource to achieve your ultimate goal, which is to deliver a checkmate. So there were a lot of pawns here defending the black's king, and this rook on f1 could not participate in the game. Well, guess what? Now it can, because after king takes e6, we are just taking it on f5 with a check, and again we have two very powerful pieces to participate in the attack. If king goes to d5, we have checkmate, queen to d7, and so black played king to e7, but now queen to f7 check, king d8 is the only move, and a very nice little touch in the end of the day, the move e6. Now, all of a sudden, there is absolutely no way to stop the checkmate. Anand played here e3, trying to create his counter threat. Remember, it's all about who is going to deliver the first real threat. Well, both players are about to deliver a checkmate, but chess is a tragedy of one tempo, and white is the first one here with queen to d7 checkmate. But what to do if black plays here bishop to f5, which seemingly stops our entire plan? Well, in this video I cover exactly that, so you're ready to crush your opponent no matter what.